Hey, good morning and welcome to Morning Momentum. This is our first day in the fifth week of Morning Momentum. I am getting so much positive feedback. Thank you for everyone who is sharing, who is letting people know about Morning Momentum. Keep up the good work. Tune in. If you'd like to hear us talk about anything that maybe we're not addressing, let us know. But for now, we're going to talk about something that I think will help you kick this week off on the right foot. Let's jump in to Morning Momentum. There's a very familiar portion of scripture found in 1 Samuel that once I read it, all of us are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But just for the sake of where we're going this morning, allow me to read a little bit of scripture just to begin our time together in Morning Momentum. It's found in 1 Samuel 17, beginning in verse 32. And David said to Saul, "Let no man's heart fail because of him," speaking of Goliath. "Thy servant will go and fight with this Philistine." And Saul said to David, "Thou art not able to go against the Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth." And David said unto Saul, "Thy servant kept his father's sheep, and there came a lion and a bear, and took a lamb out of the flock. And I went out after him and smote him and delivered it out of his mouth. And when he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and smote him and slew him. Thy servant slew both the lion and the bear, and this uncircumcised Philistine shall be one of them, seeing he hath defied the armies of the living God." Now, I have a question to start our time together here in Morning Momentum this morning. It's simply this: how would you fight a giant? In modern warfare, I would probably choose to fight him with a weapon that kept me as far away from this giant as possible. In the day that David fought Goliath, warfare was mostly accomplished with close quarter skirmishes and hand-to-hand combat, which I wouldn't do too well in. The prevailing mindset of that day seemed to be your best chance of survival was to be covered in strong armor that would deflect the blows of your adversary. However, we read the account of David's battle with Goliath here in 1 Samuel 17, and we find that David chooses something different. He rejects the weaponry that would have been the obvious choice, and he chooses to fight instead, armed with nothing more than a slingshot and a few stones. It would appear that David's selection of weaponry was something that was considered to be at that time a very terrible choice, as Goliath was covered from head to toe in armor, and the hurled stone would probably just bounce off and be rendered ineffective. Now, we know in the end the sling and the stone did indeed bring down this giant, and we know that David was victorious. Scripture tells us so. But when presented with the choice to cover himself in armor and fight Goliath in that day's contemporary method of warfare, or choose a slingshot approach, David's reasoning was that he had proven, I want to just stop right there, he had proven the sling, but he was inexperienced with a shield and a sword and armor. Further inspection of this passage would lead us to understand that prior to his battle with and victory over Goliath, he had spent days, hours in the meadows of Bethlehem shepherding sheep. Undoubtedly, while he was alone in the pasture watching sheep, David had spent hour after hour whirling the sling above his head, letting stones fly at distant targets. How else do you pass the time when you're watching sheep? Now, we probably should understand that he didn't just wake up the morning of his battle with this giant and decide, you know what, I think that today I'm going to fight the biggest fight of my life, and I'm just going to take a slingshot. I think that will make a very motivational story in years to come when people read of my conquest. No, David didn't think that morning. David chose his challenge based upon what he already knew and what he already enjoyed doing. Now, understand that sometimes in life, we have to do things that we don't enjoy. I don't enjoy taking out the trash, but I do it. I don't enjoy paying taxes, but it's still required. So please don't mistake this as being the golden rule of choosing what challenges you will accept and those that you will decline. Don't go there. However, when we are being led toward great life-defining challenges, this is certainly a principle that should be considered. Now, if someone told you that pastor enrolled in weightlifting classes, or pastor is going to run a 20K marathon, you know they're lying to you. Now, if someone told you that they spotted me down at Duck Donuts in Encinitas, you can probably go ahead and write that down. Pastor was there eating a dozen donuts all by himself. There's probably more fact than fiction involved in that tale. As you prepare to weigh out the challenges that you will accept this month, this week, this day, consider, is this something that I enjoy doing? The reality is that my success or my failure is likely to be enhanced or hindered depending on how I answer that question right there. If I don't enjoy it, how likely am I to remain committed to whatever it is? If I don't enjoy it, how likely am I going to make sacrifices necessary to succeed in that area? You're probably not. So what do you enjoy doing? What challenge lies before you that you are thinking, I'm actually looking forward to undertaking that challenge? Yeah, you're still going to have to take out the tax. You're still take out the taxes. You're still going to have to take out the trash. I wish we could take the taxes out. You're still going to have to pay taxes, but it just may be that the giant has met his worst nightmare when you make up your mind, I enjoy this challenge. Bring it on. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow right here on Morning Momentum.